Hey everybody, RBL Commissioner here, Pat Barker. Before we get into this week's episode, wanted to talk to you guys about a very special show we have coming up in mere hours. This Thursday, December 15th, there is a very special Los Angeles event at Jam in the Van in Culver City. We are going to be putting up the three biggest roast battle shows in LA, and yes, there are three of them. Roast Battle, Comic Wars, No Yoris. They will all be going head-to-head in a once-of-a-lifetime event. It's going to be taking place this Thursday. Follow Roast Battle on social media for more details, or go to, I believe it's jaminthevan.com. Should have checked that before I started recording. But follow us on social media. Click the post. You will definitely see it. And come on out, check out the event, and support the Roast Battle. RBL Weekly back on the air, coming at you as always. I'm Pat Barker, Commissioner of the Roast Battle League, joined by my co-host Sarah Keller. We're back with more battles, and we have a hard out today.
Yeah.
So not a lot of talking from us. Let's get. How you doing? Good.
I'm good.
I'm good too.
Yeah.
All right,
super.
number 5 this week. Jumping right into it. We got 5 great battles. As always, we cover the top 5 battles from across the worldwide, global, international Roast Battle League, and we start internationally this week over in London. This is a battle between two people that one we've seen on the show. We saw a couple weeks ago, Duffy Connors, and he made a very strong first impression in his battle against Hugh. I forget Hugh's last name.
Was he the guy that kept being called homeless?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep,
This is Homeless
perfectly.
Duffy.
Homeless Duffy.
Homeless Duffy, which we'll call him from now on,
Yes.
is back, and he is competing against the London co-champion, Ellie Grace Cashin. Now, when we crowned champions, when we launched the Roast Battle League, they had a big tournament, and in the finals, it was Ellie Grace, who we've yet to see, and Ken Grinnell, who we've seen a lot of, and it was ruled a draw.
Wow.
And they were co-champions. And I remember I said on the podcast, I think this was the first week, I'm sure that's something that will be settled soon. And
Week
nope,
20.
still co-champions. So I don't know if she's co-defending her title here. I don't know exactly what the deal is over there. I might have to get on a plane and go fuck somebody up in London and rule with an iron fist. But I've been excited to see Ellie because we've seen a lot of Ken and we've yet to see her. So this is going to be our first time seeing her on the show. So one of them looks homeless. One of them is the co-champion. That's an interesting mix. Let's check it out. Duffy Connors versus Ellie Grace Cashin.
Ellie, this is Ellie Grace Cashin. She's a poet. So I've written her a poem. Well, a limerick, because I'm Irish. Ellie knows what she wants to be. So she's doing a drama degree. Nobody's more ruthless in being bloody useless. Because she's a fucking Gen Z.
Oh, that's beautiful. So Duffy is only 6 years older than me, but could definitely pass as my creepy uncle.
I'm not allowed to come around to Christmas anymore. So Ellie is a 20-year-old blonde woman. So let's start the bidding at... Sorry, my day job is selling white women to sex slavery.
Duffy really takes the sexy out of being Irish. Duffy is living proof that God doesn't do a quality check before he sends him out.
Ellie lives in a box-sized flat. She may still be in the box, but she's certainly not in mint condition.
Duffy and his siblings all have different fathers, and Duffy's dad died before he was born. I don't know what Duffy's dad would be more ashamed of, the fact that his mum's the town bike or that Duffy isn't getting any.
I got some off my mother, I'll have you know. Ellie looks like if Hannah Montana grew up in a town with a nuclear radiation problem. Hannah Chernobyl.
Before I met Duffy, I didn't know pubes could grow on your face.
They grow all the thicker. Ellie's boyfriend is white. Now, is that enough proof that she doesn't think races should mix? I asked my conveniently black girlfriend. And she said it was.
Duffy has a condition called lazy bowel syndrome, which I guess explains why he's so full of shit. But why does he look like shit?
I think that's us.
So London kicking us off this week. I felt like it was almost like a sparring match, little slap fighting. I don't feel like any of them really threw knockout punches.
Yeah, it was a sparring match, like how kids do this kind of.
Yeah. Don't get me
Or
wrong.
like that one.
right.
That one. Sorry.
Now you have a 5-year-old nephew. We were just talking
Yes.
before we recorded. And I have a 5-year-old son. I feel like if they got into a fight, that's how they would do it.
100%.
Now, that's not to say you can't do damage with those hits.
Yeah.
Someone would leave that fight crying, probably. But, it's not exactly Tyson versus Holyfield.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, to just speak from my own experience, opening with a poem is a bold choice. He at least, Duffy, to his credit,
He kept his
short.
under 10 and a half minutes. Or...
11 stanzas or whatever. I know. Look, we've talked about it on this podcast.
Sure.
I wish there was footage of it so that I could live public shame that I deserve. I think calling this a slap fight is probably the best way to describe it. I didn't think there were any real hard hits. I didn't think there was anything where I was like, oh, like it was a bomb. It was just fine.
It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was there.
Yeah.
It was there. And, I think part of it is expectations, right? For me, my expectations, because we loved Duffy the first time we saw him, and obviously Ellie, to be able to make it to the finals of a tournament and then draw with somebody as good as Ken, who we love, I had high expectations. So that's part of it.
Yep.
If we're being honest. If these were two new people, we'd be like, that was a really good,
I agree.
first fight. One thing that really stuck out to me, though, that we could talk a little bit about was we've seen historically in places like New York, Tokyo, and London, the jokes tend to be longer, more sort of like, conversational, rambly at times. That wasn't the case. I mean, Ellie, if anything, she had a couple that felt a little short. Like she landed a really solid setup, got some laughs, and then kind of tapped out on it. This was a very un-British battle based on what I've seen from them in the past, structurally. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think Duffy was more in line with the typical British structure. But I thought, Ellie kept it very concise, but maybe even too concise. There were a couple points where you and I looked at each other during the thing of like, what? Like, where was that going? Yeah.
There were definitely a couple points where it kind of veered off. There was Duffy's... Duffy got a really good laugh on Let's Start the Bidding. And then he decided to punctuate it with, I have a day job selling white women into sex slavery, which just seemed, it felt weird, felt harsh, maybe.
Yeah. To me,
sometimes it's better to imply something fucked up than to outright say it, if that
100%. Like, it didn't need to be tagged because we knew that's what you were talking about.
Right.
I will say, like, for me, that joke fell extremely flat because I've heard Saudi Prince do it in the belly room for the last 10 years.
Sure.
But that's London. They probably don't know. They haven't seen that. But for me, I'm like, okay, you stole that from Saudi Prince, who's been saying it every year for. Anyway,
we do such a bad job. Have historically, we've gotten better this year, and 2023 will be even better of getting our footage out there for people to see. It's really hard for me to buy into the so and so stole this joke from LA if they don't live in LA. Because you have to work really hard, at least before 2022, to find our shit at all.
Yes. And I want to say I was not discrediting him or saying like he was stealing it from Saudi or at all. I'm just saying, for me, I couldn't enjoy it because I've heard it so many times.
No, I totally understand that. But, solid opening battle to start. I still like both of these guys. I like what they're doing in London. And I like if this is maybe the start of a gradual kind of shift into shorter, more palatable jokes and not the rambly kind of stuff. I think that is ultimately a good move. Or if it's just a one-off, it was a refreshing change of pace. But
I just want to say before we move on, I want to see more of Ellie, because if she is she is the co-champ, but I want, I've seen multiple Ken battles that just seem at a different level than this one, but I'm reserving my judgment. That's why I'm saying I want to see more from Ellie so that I can judge her.
You hear that, London? Send us more Ellie Grace battles. We would love to see them. And the funniest thing in the battle for me was when Duffy said, "My conveniently black girlfriend."
Yes.
That was outstanding. Well done. Let's go to the States now, but this is an international battle that happened in the Belly Room this past Tuesday. This one, I was there. I helped judge this one. This was a very interesting one for me, and it was really exciting for me to put together. What happened was Vinay Murthy, one of the battlers we've seen in Tokyo, he had a great performance versus Itsuki a couple months back. He was going to be in L.A., and it's not often you get somebody who lives in Tokyo going to be in L.A. and wants to battle in the Belly Room. So I could have put him against somebody from L.A., but I thought, what if we called up Josh Means? Josh he co-runs the Bay Area division, and he's an excellent battler. And I said, what if we did the Bay versus Tokyo in L.A., and just sort of see what happens? So I was excited to put this one together, excited to see it, and it's going to be number 4 this week. This is Josh Means from the Bay versus Vinay Murthy, excuse me. I don't want to mess that up. Vinay Murthy from Tokyo. Let's check it out.
All right, it makes sense that Josh is from Sacramento. Josh, you look like you have fetal fentanyl syndrome.
Good one, venereal disease. His dad is a doctor, obviously. He's 82, and he's still a doctor. He's so disappointed in you, he's doctoring long enough for the two of you.
Thank you, Stone and O'Brien. Josh's mom used to be a firefighter before becoming a stay-at-home mom in Sacramento. So, well, at least we know that's one home meth lab that's not going to be burning down.
Good one, Bindi Kaling. Vinay is a voice actor. You may recognize him from his career from Logan Paul's Forest video.
Thank you, Theon Gayboy. Josh has a recent headshot where he's wearing a purple shirt, a tie, and a vest. He looks like a magician who makes restraining orders disappear.
Good one, Mr. Raja. Vinay's a big fan of The Simpsons. So big, in fact, he moved where everyone is yellow.
Oh my God! That's so good.
But he's never been able to thank his wife for coming again.
Good one, Connor McCrackhor. Josh got into comedy because his best friend, who always encouraged him to try it out, got hit by a car and died. And then he's been through a lot of shit. You know, his dad left him when he was little and then died. His stepdad died a couple years ago. His wife is divorcing him. But he did it. He made it. He's doing comedy. And I think that's so sweet that he's paying tribute to his friend by making his personal life a flaming car wreck.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
I am glad you brought up my divorce. I think it's funny you brought up my divorce. How bad is it you had to fly to your mail order bride?
Thank you, Screech and Chong. Yeah, thank you. Josh, the name Joshua comes from Hebrew, Yehoshua, which means God is deliverance. Whereas Josh means, whatever happened to the retarded kid from Deliverance?
Doesn't Vinay look like every defendant in every rape case against Uber?
Vinay looks like every defendant in every rape case against Uber, and Josh looks like every defendant in every rape case against Lyft. I meant to say that as a judge. I forgot it. I blanked on it. Now here it is. There it is. Okay. It's been bugging me. It's been bugging me for a week.
That's the only reason you put this battle in.
That's it.
It was a good battle.
It was a good battle, and it was an outstanding performance from Josh, who's been coming down to LA a lot this year. Hopping on that Greyhound or hopping in his car or whatever. I assume he can't afford to fly, but whatever he's doing, he's coming down and proving himself consistently. I thought he did a really good job in that battle.
I agree. I thought Josh put on an excellent show. I thought Vinay struggled, and I thought when his third joke, it's interesting coming off that last battle where we were talking about how it was a different take on typically British battles, a lot more brevity. And then we saw Vinay's third joke that went on for an eternity.
And it was his best joke. It was the one that worked the best.
Yes. And I think maybe that's how he wrote it. To me, it came across as he was a little flustered and he got lost. And then his next jokes, he wasn't able to recover that energy, I think. And he was also flustered still, and it just snowballed out of amok.
I agree. I mean, it's a nerve-wracking thing, flying 12 hours, getting up at the Comedy Store.
Yes.
And battling in the main event in front of Jeff Ross. I mean, I can definitely see where Tokyo is a burgeoning scene. It's coming up.
100%.
They're going through growing pains. It's very much like, I don't want to discredit it by saying this, but it's kind of like a minor league type of system in a way. And it's gone over the last few months. I love the progression they've made, and we're going to see them later in this show. But it is very much compared to what we've been doing in LA for a decade. It probably feels like you're jumping into the big leagues for something like
100%.
this. So I could see where the nerves would come into play there.
Totally. I am not faulting him for the nerves whatsoever. And I think, it's interesting because when we watched him when he battled Itsuki, he was incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's hard to tell if this. Well, let me ask you. Do you think he did as well in this battle as he did against Itsuki? He just had a much stronger opponent. No, I didn't think so either.
No, I thought this was a weaker showing from him, but I understand why. It's interesting because the other four jokes, he did not try to. I mean, he did try to alter his style and do more of the LA thing, and I know that's tricky too. Going somewhere where they do it completely differently than you're used to, and you probably have that in your head. I can't take more than 10 seconds on a joke, or I'll lose the crowd. It adds a lot of pressure to it. I think if anything, it's less pressure when you have more freedom to go long, like they do over there. It's one less thing you have to worry about.
And I will say, I thought the point where the battle turned was when Vinay did the joke about Josh's headshot.
Yeah.
And that's, I think we've all been there where we've seen a ridiculous picture of an opponent and been like, oh, I've got to roast this. And I don't know about you, but I have considered making T-shirts with their face on it. But ultimately, it's like, no, you know what? It just doesn't work.
I'm glad you referenced that because that was the one thing that I really wanted to talk about. It wasn't just that joke. The juxtaposition of the two jokes back to back, because he did the Josh's headshot joke, which you already lose steam at the beginning because you have to spend so much time explaining and getting the audience to kind of imagine it, right? And then you do the joke, and the joke was fine. The joke was good. But then Josh immediately followed it up with, thank you, Mr. Raja, while he is wearing a sweater.
Mm-hmm.
So Vinay took 10 times as much time to set up a mental image and make the crowd do the work to get to a punchline, whereas Josh, in a millisecond, referenced something he was actually wearing. Now, he was probably going to do Mr. Raja regardless because it's an Indian joke, but the fact that he was wearing a sweater, you just see the difference in how those jokes hit when the person is actually wearing the thing that plays into the joke versus you having to paint the picture. You know, I thought that when I was watching it, I thought the same thing. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
But great stuff. Appreciate Vinay coming over and battling. Would have been easy to just take a vacation. And
heck yeah.
There's way more fun stuff to do in LA than get up there and fucking roast battle.
Yeah, please come back.
Yeah. Anytime you're in town, we will hook you up with a good battle. And we look forward to seeing more from Vinay in Tokyo. Now we move to Chicago, one of my favorite divisions. We say it all the time. And this battle is really interesting. And I want to say, watch it right now, but then go seek out the full version from Roast Battle Chicago's YouTube channel, because the full version has a heckler at the end that involves the judges and the host and the battlers kind of all simultaneously beating the shit out of this heckler. It's very entertaining.
I'm going to watch.
We're very consistent here. We don't do judging. We don't do extracurricular after the battle stuff, but check that out. But for the meantime, we're going to focus on the jokes. And this is a great, great performance from one battler. I won't spoil it, but this is Gabriel Alviso, who we've seen before in Love, versus first time we're seeing Oscar Carvajal from Chicago, number 3.
All right, Oscar looks like the first Mexican Pixar character. He has the body of Buzz Lightyear and the face of Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, they're gonna call him Buzzcut Lightyear.
That's it? All right. I've done a bunch of shows with Gabriel this summer, and he's trying to become a crowd work comedian now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you, instead of doing jokes, you ask the audience questions and you try to make a joke off that. How about trying to become a regular comedian first, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, try to run a regular good joke. Like, you try to skip steps, bro. You're like a cop who's trying to skip the academy and go straight into murdering innocent black people, dog. You know what I'm saying? You're like a dude trying to have sex without the foreplay and wondering where your girl's not wet, dog. Like, you're like, the last time I heard you do a good joke is when you were quoting one of mine, dog.
No, that was pretty cool. I love that this essay told an essay. So that is. That was pretty good. You could go or whatever. I don't know.
Is that it?
No, I don't know. I'll make fun of your fucking disgusting body.
Okay.
I mean, dude, I'm surprised you're not sweaty and greasy like you usually are. I mean, this wet back usually has a wet front. So.
Okay. Talking about greasy, look at this motherfucker's hair, man. This motherfucker's hair is so greasy and oily. If you put a fucking duck there, it dies and shit, dog. This motherfucker's hair is so oily. Bush tried to invade it, claiming it had weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
It's true. Bush tried to invade my hair and try to get you deported. You failed. Dude, it's funny that you're making fun of the way I look. You look like if the Penguin from Batman was a street vendor. So.
Gabriel, he claims he's Mexican, but he's so whitewashed. The last time he spoke Spanish was when he was singing Justin Bieber's part in Despacito. And shit, Gabriel is so fucking whitewashed that his fucking favorite Mexican icon is Speedy Gonzalez. Gabriel is so fucking whitewashed. I forgot the third joke.
I might be whitewashed, but you look like you wash cars for a living.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, I can't believe, dude, you look like you're the reason white people call us beaners. Look at your fucking body.
Hey, beans are tasty, bro. Beans are tasty, bro.
Oscar has the body shape of a Modelo bottle. So.
Gabe is so bad at stand-up. Even deaf people turn the volume down when his clips comes on. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's so bad at stand-up. He did stand-up at a quadriplegic convention and they all walked out and shit. You know what I mean? He's so bad at stand-up, parents refuse to repeat what the fuck he's saying, dog.
Okay, in English now, please. That is fucking crazy.
Fake ass Mexican. All right, go ahead, man.
Dude, you look like if a minion worked at a Home Depot. So. Fucking weird body.
You look like if an idiot worked at a coffee shop, bro. Get the fuck out of here, man. Gabe claims he's Mexican. He's from California though, but it was like his great grandmother one that crossed. Man, he's like 17th generation American, bro. His family crossed so long ago. California was still part of Spain and shit. You know what I'm saying? His family crossed so long ago. They were running from Hernan Cortez and shit, bro. His family crossed so long ago. They came here before the Mayflower.
This guy's been talking the whole time.
He's
translating.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
From hipster to English, motherfucker.
Oh boy, sir.
Doc, you look
No
like
bueno.
an Uber driver who picks people up on a stolen mongoose bike. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Dude, we all know that you're an illegal alien, but it doesn't mean that you have to look like an extraterrestrial. Like, it's crazy. Oscar looks like if E.T. tried to phone home, but he couldn't because he ran out of prepaid minutes. What, is this not 7? I mean, I don't care.
You're on 6.
I don't know how many jokes we're on, bro.
You're 6. He's on 5. This is gonna be
Gabe is such a dumb name. He has such a dumb face, right? Gabe, I don't know what was going through his mom's head when she gave him that name, but I know what was going through his mom's head when she gave me some head, dude. I messed that one up.
Yeah. Your mom is garbage. That's why she named you Oscar. So that's. Oscar looks like he just got off a. Oscar, you look like a fucking idiot. No, Oscar looks like he drives a forklift at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And all the other Oompa Loompas make fun of him for being Mexican. They call him a Chalupa Loompa.
Damn.
Last show.
Gabe, his name on Instagram is Tiger Theory, but the only tiger that he's like is like Tiger Woods because he's a minority, just chases white balls.
Wow.
God damn it, Oscar. I told you we had a hard out today.
Yeah, no kidding. Gabriel, I mean, really just beat the shit out of Chicago digits.
Yeah. Chicago digits.
I'm sorry. Like, Oscar is reminds me very much of our LA digits, except a lot longer winded. Lot longer winded. I think my favorite part was when he forgot his third joke. He was like, I forgot my third joke. I was like, you didn't need the second one.
No.
Like, the first one was the only good one you had, and you could have just left it at that.
Now, so I watched this battle before today. This was your first time seeing it. So my first time seeing it, I came away with the exact same impression. I'm like, damn, Oscar got the shit kicked out of him, right? And then I watched this, and he had a couple of good ones early on, and I'm like, man, maybe I was unfair. But the problem was he then added 30 more jokes that were not very good. So the good news is I think he has a lot of potential. I think he wrote some funny punchlines. He had a couple that got really big laughs. Editing is going to be his friend.
Yes. And that was my point about you forgot the third joke. You didn't need it.
Yes.
The first joke was the best joke.
Right.
So he just needs to get better at being decisive on what joke is the best one and choosing that one.
It was diminishing returns every time.
100%.
Which, here's the thing. It could be a lesson learned, right? Strategically, to sit down and say, okay, I don't need to write all those, right? Sometimes you write a whole bunch of jokes and you don't know which ones are going to hit and you don't really know. The thing that is a little more concerning to me in the moment is you can edit on the fly.
Yeah.
If your first joke crushes, shut the fuck up. Like, that's the thing where it's like anybody can make the mistake of like not knowing the format and writing a whole bunch, but like just to intuitively not in that moment know like, oh, the crowd's laughing, I'm gonna back off here. Versus, I have to get out this hot Hernan Cortez reference. I have to throw out this Mayflower banger that I'm sitting on. Like, to not feel the momentum in the moment and to like when the wave is high to back off, and then when you're crashing to be like, I'm gonna pull this thing out of a nosedive with this fourth punchline is just like, that feels like that should be instinctive a little bit.
Yes. And if it's not, then it needs to be learned. It's like, it's something we've talked about a lot on the show about like comebacks, and something that I tell every battler on Tuesday night, if they've never done that before, part of my spiel is if you have a killer comeback, leave it.
Stop.
There's nothing better than a great comeback. So if you have a comeback that hits really hard, let it go. Let your opponent follow it because it's really hard to follow a really good joke. So don't do it yourself. Why?
Yeah. Or if you have a tag. Or if you have 5 tags.
Yeah.
Just if the first one hits, just
let
back
it go.
off. Gabriel, for his part, did everything right. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
the written jokes were outstanding. The essay told an essay.
Ugh.
Like, Chicago does 7 joke battles. It was over after he said that. That was the first joke, and it was over at that point. To be in the moment and to sort of rebuttal that, and he had a joke about, like, Gabriel's name, and then he came back with, your name is Oscar because your mom was like, just,
Chef's kiss.
yeah, just he had everything working. In baseball, they call it a 5-tool player, when you can hit for average and power and throw and run and field. Gabriel had whatever a 5-tool battler was. That was what Gabriel was in that battle.
Gabriel had some of the best "you look like" jokes I have heard, and like those are my favorite. We've talked about this a lot. I love a good "you look like," and he nailed every single one of them. And he had one per like joke that wasn't even his joke. And I enjoyed that so much. And I also really enjoyed watching his confidence grow as it became clear and clear. Like, he got more and more robust. And I was like, oh, this is a fighter that's like, I am killing this dude. And it was adorable.
The moment, the ultimate, like, swag moment when he was killing him was when he kept trying to do a joke about "you look like." It was towards the end. And the audience was laughing too hard at his previous thing. And he kept starting the "you look like," and then finally he just had to be like, "You look like a fucking idiot, dude," or something like
Yes.
that, because he couldn't even get to the actual joke. The thing I love about Chicago, not only are the battles consistent, and I think it's one thing for them to build a brand and be like, Chicago is the best division. They had the best 2022, which for the record I do believe to be the case, but they are creating stars. Individual people that I've never met in my life, and I want to see them battle. I get excited when I see Grace Leishman, Jessica Misro, when I see Gabriel Alviso, when I see Evelyn Troutman, when I see these people and they're continuously doing it and putting up these performances. It makes me excited to see them. And that's exciting. From 1,500 miles away, me never having met these people, I think that speaks volumes for not only what they're doing as a division, but the individuals, how they're taking advantage of this opportunity.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So great job, Gabriel. Congratulations. We've seen him a couple of times. First time versus Ken Flores, who, by the way, Ken Flores, another guy, should be on that list.
Wait,
he was excellent.
Gabriel we've seen before?
We did. We saw him.
Oh.
Maybe you weren't on that episode.
I know we saw Oscar before.
I don't think I've seen Oscar.
Oh.
Maybe I wasn't on that one.
Oh. Well.
Here I thought it was Oscar's first battle.
I was like, no.
Like,
we liked him the last time we.
Oh no, I think I missed that one. But I've seen Gabriel a couple times. Outstanding work as usual. So let's move now to number 2. This is from our New York division. These are 2 battlers that I haven't seen. Maybe you have. Now we've missed enough episodes where we're like, I don't know. But this is I want to make sure I get these names right. Romy Rosner versus May Kasem, the RBL debut, at least RBL Weekly debut for both of them from New York. Number 2. Let's watch it.
Sometimes when I'm with Romy, I feel like I'm at home. But when I say home, I mean her yoga pants smell like Chinatown.
I am Jewish. You guys, if you didn't know, May is biracial, she is bisexual, and her best material is written by others.
Romy is a 4, which is pretty good for a Jew. So it was a 5. But she looks like she etch-a-sketches her eyebrows.
4 sides to a dreidel, baby. I still spin. This is true. May got canceled in Philly for calling a black comic a monkey, which is ironic because May looks like one of the kids that gets dragged into a cage at the zoo.
Thank you, Dyke Myers. just ready for Halloween. Actually, Romy, if you're here, who's chasing the children in the corn maze?
May has a tattoo on her wrist covering up cut marks. Not sure why she tried killing herself by cutting. I'm assuming she has step stools in her house.
Romy talks about depression and suicide a lot, but I can tell you that Romy was never bulimic, and it shows.
On Yom Kippur, alright. Let's wrap this up. May is a Filipina woman comic. I don't know what falls flatter, her face or her jokes.
I mean, that was outstanding. I thought.
No, I'm still reeling from some of those jokes. I audibly guffawed at the. She's a 5 or a 4, which is pretty good for a Jew. I was like, oh man.
It's funny because it's true.
That was. Oh, that just made me go, whoa.
I learned about that in the Kyrie Irving documentary.
What?
About how Jews top out at 4s.
Is that a...
No.
Oh, okay.
That's a reference to something Sarah is blissfully unaware of. Good for you.
Thank you.
No, this was outstanding. One thing I find really, really interesting is Romy's jokes on paper should be way more devastating. She's talking about suicide, and she's talking about like things from her past, the fact that May got canceled in Philadelphia, the fact that she tried to kill herself, blah, 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 blah. But nothing is more biting and cutting than a skinny woman calling a fat woman, or not even a fat woman. She's not even a fat woman. But nothing hits harder and comes across to me as meaner than a woman saying another woman is not as attractive.
Yeah, I think that's also why when we watch two females battle, it can come across like catty.
Sure.
Because it hurts way more.
Yeah. If two dudes are like, you're ugly, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. It's exclusively women.
Well, and if a dude calls a woman ugly, he just looks like an asshole.
Right.
You know, like, so yeah, it hurts a lot more.
It's a very specific thing that can only be done in this, because the two moments that really got me was you're a 4 and you were never bulimic. Which on paper, all right, but said out loud, I don't know. It's just a whole other level for me.
It hit. And I thought one of the things I thought that Romy did really well was she followed the 4 joke with the get canceled joke, which I thought like was a perfect, whether it was intentional, I hope it was, strategy, because she May said this horribly racist thing.
Sure.
And then Romy hit her back with, yeah, she's so racist she got canceled somewhere. Like, you guys should laugh. Like, it's a funny joke, but also, and then you kind of don't like May after, like, you know, or at least your white guilt is like, I'm not supposed to like her. Which is also weird because she's the woman of color on stage. And no, oh my God, now I'm spiraling. Who am I not supposed to vote for?
Who am I not supposed to vote for? Herschel Walker. That's who you're not supposed to vote for. That's the only political stance I'll ever have on this show. Nobody vote for that fucking lunatic. No, I really like this. New York consistently puts out good stuff at their Grove 34 location. This was another one. Really hard-hitting. The reason I put this one ahead of Chicago, I thought Chicago had so much energy, and it was maybe the most enjoyable battle we'll see today. But in terms of competitiveness, I really thought like this one was neck and neck. Like if I was a judge on this one, that's an overtime for me for sure. What did you think?
I agree. I think your ranking was spot on. Where I loved Gabriel's "You Look Like" jokes, and he had very strong the whole time. It was so one-sided, where this one was very good back and forth. They both had solid, well-written jokes. So I think like joke for joke, which is what we judge here, this was a upper level battle compared to the Chicago one. Not saying the Chicago one was fantastic.
Right. Yeah. The Chicago one had maybe the performance of the night for me, but this was a more thorough battle. So congratulations to both of them. Great stuff from New York, as always. We have a new number one this week. We've been doing this show for quite a while now, and we've had number one battles from New York, from Chicago, from L.A., from the Bay, I think every city has been represented in number one except for this one, and I'm very excited and proud of Tokyo's first number one battle of the week. I watched this one last night, and I was really blown away. I was very much impressed by this. And Tokyo, as we discussed earlier, is a city that is starting. They have the smallest number of comics. They have maybe the most shallow talent pool. They were shut down for almost 3 years because of COVID. It's been a long road for them to get back up. They opened a brand new theater, a comedy theater that they're doing everything from. The growth that they've undergone behind the scenes has been really impressive, because you guys just see the battles on here, right? What I see is a scene that has really worked hard to try to get caught up to everybody who started so far behind the 8 ball. And I just love the fact that they are plugging away at this thing, and consistently, the growth you see is very exciting. And one of the other things I love from Tokyo is it's not just people from Japan, it's people from all over the place. And that is the case in this battle. This is, I believe he's from Kenya, Evans Musoka going up against BJ Fox. This is the first #1 battle from Tokyo. I'm really excited. Let's check it out.
BJ, wow. BJ's dick reminds me of the last 3 British prime ministers. Ugly like Boris Johnson, doesn't last for long like Liz Truss, and at the end of the day, your wife will end up with a rich Indian one.
In fairness, since I turned 40, it's getting browner and browner. And Evans moved here to Japan to study Bible studies, to study theology. Who moves to Japan to study Christianity? Did he know something that Prime Minister Abe didn't? And no, but Evans, he's a dedicated Catholic. He's got a lot in common with Jesus Christ. Both born in a cattle shed.
BJ, you cheap son of a bitch. BJ owns this bar, but you'll always get him downstairs getting fucked up in front of a 7-Eleven. Of course, secretly, BJ is like James Bond on a 00711 budget.
You are the Hyakuen Diet Jay-Z. And Evan Musoka's teeth. Let's talk about the teeth. Go on, I thought there was going to be white privilege on stage. It would be me, but it's not. It's in that mouth. You've got 24-carat teeth. Your teeth are so shiny. They look like they were gifted back to the Republic of Kenya upon the death of Elizabeth, the Queen Elizabeth. Most comedians came here because of the Japanese women. He came here to escape the ivory trade. It is the genetic endpoint for Kenyans, sucking the cock of the British Empire for 87 years. He's developed a pearly white cum shield.
This message is sponsored by Colgate. BJ tells everybody that he was born in America. I doubt that shit. There's no way. I mean, he's an alcoholic and his wife is pregnant. You must be from Liverpool because clearly your liver is fucked up and your pull-out game is weak.
You wish you could have. Evans has been searching for the one for so long. He recently, correct me if I'm wrong, you recently broke up with a long-term girlfriend. You were, just before, about a couple of months, with a Ukrainian girlfriend. Beautiful story. Refugee meets asylum seeker. And he dumped her on September the 12th, or on the Ukrainian calendar, that's called day 198. And he did it by text. He wrote to her. He said to her he saw no future in this relationship. He can't get married to a girl whose family home no longer has running water or electricity. And if he wanted that, he would have stayed in Kenya and married his second cousin as per tribal tradition.
Fuck that bitch. Speaking of marriage, BJ is married to a Japanese wife, of course, Don't clap for that shit. BJ is kind of successful, you know. He has a good comedy career. He had this sitcom called Home Shit Tokyo. He has his, like, I've never seen his wife come watch him perform. Like, it's so sad that even with all this success and your own comedy club, you still can't make your wife come.
You joke, but due to female circumcision, Kenyan girls can't come. And Evan absolutely fucking loves Black Panther, honestly. I was a bit worried today. Black Panther 2 came out. I thought he was going to do Wakanda forever. Like, literally, he teaches English. All he does, because he can't really speak English, he just goes into class and puts on the film. That's all he does. He's been here for 10 years, and he can't speak a word of Japanese. He can barely speak English. You know, Black Panther for him is almost like a documentary of I think the only detail you don't agree with is that like an African king would die of cancer rather than AIDS. And
everyone has AIDS. AIDS.
That's our anthem. Fuck you, Ruben. Speaking of coming, BJ's mom. Yes, your mom. BJ's mom came to visit him in the summer, and BJ was very adamant introducing me, you know. He told his mom that I'm bad news. That's so sad. I know your mom likes watching the news, and I got the BBC.
Joe, that is not the Kenyan anthem. That is not the Kenyan anthem. Kenyan, like, his favourite music is Ken pop. You know, you've got J-pop, you've got K-pop, you've got Ken pop. K-pop, we've got BTS. Japan, J-pop, have got AKB. The biggest girl band in Kenya is the female circumcision propaganda band, FGM48. And it's just I'm going to keep going. 48 former female child soldiers and their mutilated minges. And dancing around to Britney Spears songs. I'm a child slave for you. Their biggest hit is Dewomanizer. Fuck, why did I end up on that one?
Ladies and gentlemen.
I love this battle. We started this show with a slap fight and we ended it with a slugfest. This was, to me, outstanding. The best Tokyo battle we've seen and the best battle of the week.
That was so much fun. I think the two of them looked like they were having a great time. They were truly listening to each other. Like, you could see it and like in Evan's reactions and BJ had some really fucked up jokes, and Evans laughed right along with it and went along for the ride, even more so than I think BJ did with his own jokes.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't have to judge this, because it was so fun.
Yeah, it reminded me what you're saying, like with they were having so much fun up there. And when I think back to like 2015, 2016, 2017, when I was new to Roast Battle, and like a lot of us became friends through Roast Battle, and those were some of the greatest nights of my life, being up there and just like in the moment experiencing this thing that feels so special, that you're going to remember 30, 40 years from now, that you don't get as much with individual stand-up sets, because you're creating this one-off thing that goes away after that night. And it exists on video, but you're never going to repeat that exact moment on that stage. And I felt like that's what they were going through, and it was something really fun and special for both of them.
Yeah, I liked both of them. I want to see both of them again. I think they both had moments in the battle where they clearly got nervous and stumbled a little bit, but they're so charming and fun to watch that I was like, okay, I'll be patient while you remember the joke you're trying to say.
The difference to me was word economy. Every word that Evans said had a purpose. It was for something. It contributed to the punchline. BJ did something that we talked about earlier when we were talking about Oscar from Chicago. He had a lot of tags. He had a lot of sort of like rambling and everything like that. The difference was his stuff was really high quality throughout. Now, that being said, I still think that's what cost him the battle, because in my mind, Evans won this battle. The analogy that I came up with while watching BJ perform was like watching somebody tightrope walk across the Grand Canyon. Every step he took and didn't fall was really impressive, but all it takes is one stumble where it's like, oh, you lost, because now you're splattered at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I felt like he was walking that tightrope throughout the battle and managing to stay on it until kind of the end when he started to lose his footing and slip up a little bit. It's one of those things where if you're going to tag every joke with 2 other jokes and you can pull it off, my God, that's impressive. But all it takes is 1 or 2 for you to stumble and it feel like momentum is with your opponent. That was how I felt about it. But I wouldn't fault somebody who felt otherwise.
I think that was a great analogy, and I think there is the perfect display of that was in Evans's first joke. When he did the 3 prime ministers, like each example, each punchline got better and built. That was a perfectly done, multi-tiered, multi-punchline joke. So if anybody wants an example, use that one. And then BJ, like you said, there were a lot of times where I was like, you should have just stopped at the first joke. That was good.
But if I could play devil's advocate, there were a couple times where I had that thought, and I'm like, you should have stopped there. And then he pulled it. Remember we were talking earlier about how hard it is. You're in a nosedive to pull it up, and
Yes.
which is what Oscar kept trying to do, but he just kept sort of crashing into the ground. BJ managed a few times to
Yes.
pull it up.
With the teeth joke.
With the teeth joke, with the closing joke, when he tied it back to the Britney Spears songs, he
Yes.
kind of saved it a little bit.
The only thing I'll say with the teeth joke, though, is he saved it and then kind of crashed it again. Because the ivory trade was great.
It was great.
And then he kept going, and you're like, no, you saved it, and now we're crashing again.
Yeah. I mean, this was a really smart battle. A lot of geopolitical references I didn't totally understand.
I loved it.
But you could tell
What a
just by
ride.
the fun that they're having, the structure of the jokes and everything, that like even when there were references I didn't get, I'm like, I could piece it together and realize that it's really funny.
It's a good joke. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Tokyo. Great job. Proud of your progression. Number 1 battle this week. Give us more Evans. Give us more BJ. Very impressed by both of those guys. And they have a big event coming up December 15th. Not sure when this comes out, but I think it's going to be before the 15th. They are actually doing a main event, Roast Battle Tokyo against Roast Battle London.
Oh.
Our international worlds are colliding. One of London's best, Aziz Vora, is going to be in Tokyo, and he's going to be battling in Tokyo. I truly love the crossover events with people going to other cities. I love that.
I was going to say, do you feel like a proud papa a little bit?
I feel like I want to go to Tokyo and battle.
Yeah.
I texted the Chicago guys this week. I said, I want to battle in Chicago. I watched this shit, and I want to go. I feel
You
like
battle Grace or Jessica?
there's so many good people out there.
know.
I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet, but because originally a lot of people talk about, I want to go and judge. And they're like, we've seen Keith Carey judge out there, a few others. It's like, can you come on out and judge? And I judged up in the Bay Area, but this awakens like a hunger in me that I feel like I don't have as much in LA anymore because I've battled everybody, where it's like, man, I want to go and I don't want to judge. I want those nerves, that rush that these guys are having on the stage. I don't know. I love it. I love this shit.
Yeah, I do miss that rush. It's better than crack.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely. I've smoked crack, and this is way better and way less, well, not way less, but slightly less damaging long-term to your health. December 15th, that's going down in Tokyo. If you're in Tokyo, check that out. If you're in LA, come to Jam in the Van. That's going to be our event on December 15th. We are bridging the 3 Roast Battle worlds in LA. The original Roast Battle, No Yores, run by Digits, and Comic Wars, usually at the Hollywood Improv. We're all coming together for a one-night winner-takes-all year-end celebration. December 15th, Jam in the Van. Follow us on social media, at Roast Battle, at The Pat Barker, at Sarah Keller 07. Until next time, we're out of time. Did we hit the hard out? Fuck, we went over by 2 minutes. We got to go. Bye, everybody.
Talks too much.